Here we go.
I'm just looking over at my other screen to see if it looks like we're live. If anyone can hear us, please let us know in the chat. But we're kind of like, we skipped the intro screen today because got caught up in conversation before this. So uh, we're just going to jump right into the conversation. I think we're live. We should be live now.
Yeah, we're live.
Awesome. What's up, y'all? Steven Jensen here. Jessi Davin beneath me. She is in audio form. And obviously, I'm up here in the little box. Thank you, Larry Lockett, for the subscription right as we were starting. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. That's a great reminder right off the bat. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, the thumbs up. That helps us out a lot. Make sure to send those super chats throughout this show. We're going to be talking for probably about an hour here live. So if you have any thoughts on the release of Bray Wyatt, the release of Ric Flair, the potential, uh, you know,
Oh yeah,
uh,
Adam Cole.
yeah, I don't even know what to call that. Adam Cole potentially just working through the rest of his contract and leaving soon, potentially. Anything else? We can talk a little AEW Homecoming. We don't need to necessarily do like full on predictions. We might pick the matches at the end of the show real quick, but if you have any thoughts on like the Malachi Black, Cody Rhodes stuff, really anything going on. Of course, Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera. I'm gonna mark out so insanely hard for that. So a lot of great stuff. So once again, super chats you can send right through YouTube. Donation link is in the description below. And any donation, any super chat, we guarantee that we will read out your comments, we will answer your questions, all that good stuff, and it will also go on the audio form of this podcast tomorrow on the Fight Talk podcast feed. So all that said, before we get talking about these releases, how you doing, Jessi?
I'm hanging in there. Thanks everyone for the love yesterday, and I gained a lot of followers on Twitter, and I really hate that it has to come at the expense of like such bad news. But if this is like your first time viewing us, welcome. I hope that you guys are gonna have a fun time, and I hope you guys stick around and really enjoy what we have to say. We do this a lot, and we try to be fair and kind, and we are passionate about things, and so I really hope that you guys stick around. So, and thank you to our amazing chat. You guys rock. Our chat freaking rules. Can I just say, you guys rock. So yeah, I'm doing all right. Baby's crying, so she may come in here and need to be fed. So if that happens, I'll just like mute myself for a second.
Oh yeah, all good. Do what you got to
Yeah.
do. Um,
And yeah, yeah, everything's going all right. It's raining here, so yeah. How are you?
Yeah, doing good, doing good. Got a big weekend of wrestling coming up. Just for anybody who is interested in mainly independent pro wrestling, and especially this is for people who might be watching maybe for the first time, or maybe you're disgruntled with the WWE in particular. Just know there's a lot of great pro wrestling out there right now. Outside of even just AEW and MLW and Ring of Honor and that type of stuff, NWA this weekend alone, just to prove my point of what I'm constantly saying about how wrestling is in like it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. It's a bad time to be a WWE fan, but it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. You have this weekend alone. Friday night is Phoenix City Invitational, night 1 on IWTV. Night 2 is on Saturday. That's going to both be streaming, independentwrestling.tv. You're going to have the Future Showcase, which is a tournament that also happens in Chattanooga surrounding the SCI. That's going to be on IWTV Live as well on Saturday. So you have Friday, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night, all IWTV shows. Then on Sunday, IWTV 100, headlined by Wheeler Yuta versus Daniel Garcia. You're going to have Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander on that show, Lee Moriarty on that show, Warhorse on that show, Jonathan Gresham's on that show. Like, there's a stacked show, IWTV 100. That's this Sunday. So you're getting 4 live shows this weekend alone on independentwrestling.tv. Use code FIGHTTALK, FIGHT all as one word with no spaces in the promo code spot. That helps me out a lot, helps this show out a lot. And just use that over on IWTV.live or independentwrestling.tv. Plus, over on Fight TV, FITE, Fight TV, you have Violence X Suffering on Saturday, you have AEW on Saturday, and GCW on Saturday. So there's 3
Wow.
Fight TV shows on Saturday also. So there's like 7 or 8 like pretty big independent shows just this weekend alone. So a lot of good stuff to watch this weekend, and I'm pretty pumped up for all of that.
Yes, definitely. It's been a fun few weeks in wrestling. You got the GCW, you've got AEW doing all its thing, and Forbidden Door and New Japan and all that. So it's been real fun, unless you're a WWE fan.
Yeah, I mean, even that though, I mean, there are of course going to be some positives with the WWE product, right? But I think for the most part, a lot of the fans are probably pretty upset, and that's a perfect segue for. I wanted to ask you about this. Like, what do you feel about? I guess we'll talk about all of them separately. Like, how do you feel first about the release of Bray Wyatt from the WWE?
Well, here's the thing. I really want to be careful with the Bray Wyatt release because there's like a lot of speculation about like his health and mental health, and I don't really think it's fair to speculate on his mental health. I mean, we can talk about it and say that's, part of the rumor, but I really don't want to like speculate.
Sure. Yeah, me
So
either.
so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go off purely what WWE said, which is budget cuts. And that is like the biggest BS lie I've ever heard. Now, here's the thing. Do I don't know if it was mutual. I don't know, but apparently he was like planning to have come back. He was being advertised on house shows. He looks really in shape. So going off of that, I mean, it seems like it was kind of out of the blue. And apparently, allegedly, it's reported that it was via text message.
Oh, really? I didn't even
Yeah,
realize that. That'd be pretty weak.
let me make sure. Let me make sure I read that correctly. Let me check Fightful Select. By the way, Fightful Select, you really need to subscribe to Fightful Select because that is the tea. If you want the tea and you want it early and you want it accurate, I'm telling you, Fightful Select. And plus, you get the Weekender with Steven Vincent.
Yes, you do. You get my podcast, you get Alex's podcast, you get a bunch of stuff from Sean. But yeah, Sean's on there constantly breaking news, and even like when there's a lot of news that might break elsewhere sometimes, like Sean will have all these follow up reports on Fightful Select. So like you're the first to see all this stuff, and it goes right to your email. Like even the podcast that I do over there, like it just shows up right in your inbox. So you don't even have to like navigate to the website and go to the fightfulselect.com or anything. If you just open your emails, it's
Literally
all
in
right
my
there.
Yeah, and it says Fightful was told that Johnny Ace made the call. So maybe it was a call. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it's just I don't know if it and a lot of it. I think the thing that really, especially on a release like that, is when the talent reacts so strongly. When they like poor Alexa Bliss, man, she is going through the ringer. I mean, she when she showed up on Raw last night on the screen, everyone started chanting, "We want Wyatt." And it's like, honestly, I get why they're doing that, and it's understandable. But she's just doing her job. Like that's what they told her to do, and she's gonna do it. She's getting paid a lot of money. I would do the same thing. It's like it's not fair to her. But she was shocked. Literally, everybody in the company is posting like their pictures with Bray Wyatt. Like they're heartbroken. They're shocked. They're scared, and allegedly on Fightful Select, if you are part of that, it's decreased the morale of a lot of people, and even people that are being pushed right now don't feel safe. They don't feel safe and secure in their jobs, and to me, that's not a really conductive, productive work environment to be working in. I just and the timing of it was so off. Like 2 days after, or the day after the investment call, where they like recorded record profit, like,
Yep.
and then they cite budget cuts. It makes no sense.
Yeah. All as you said, I'm not going to speculate either on like the mental health situations or anything like that because I don't know. I have no idea. But as far as like from the perspective of Bray Wyatt, like as a performer on the show and him just kind of getting screwed over and over and over, and now he's not even there anymore. Like I'll speak on that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's it's very I don't even know how to put it into words. It's one of these things where like
Like
I'm
it's
bet.
hard.
Mhm.
It's hard. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah, and like obviously this isn't Alexa's fault. Like she has nothing to do with this aside from just playing the character they're telling her to play. But really, from the outside looking in, it really does look like Bray Wyatt is like this super creative guy who has come up with multiple gimmicks. That the Husky Harris thing wasn't his own gimmick. That was like a given to him thing on NXT. But but like the Bray Wyatt like backwoods cult leader guy, even like the supernatural guy, the fiend, the funhouse, all that, that seems to all be like his own creations. And so from once again the outside looking in, it just looks like to me like they just took one of Bray Wyatt's really good ideas, gave it to Alexa Bliss, and now for whatever reason he's not there anymore. And it's like that's why Alexa's going to catch a lot of heat for this. Like
Yeah.
it's not her fault. And I think even the fans that are chanting "We want Wyatt," I don't think it's like them saying like "F you, Alexa Bliss." It's more like every time we see you doing his gimmick, we're going to be reminded of him and tell the company where is he. We liked this because he created it. I'm not saying Alexa can't do the role, but you know what I mean. It's just weird to give someone else's gimmick and
It's
then
it's
release them.
yeah, and then to like spin it into this like Lily thing, which is like so cringe. Like last night it was so bad.
I can't
Like
even imagine what happened last night. I didn't watch Raw.
it was just, she just showed up on the screen and was like giggling, and then they had like they showed last, I don't know why they showed it again, but like the Lily Lucian
I don't know what that
thing
was.
where it's like, well, because Evolution,
Is she
she's feuding.
feuding with Eva
Yeah,
Marie? Oh,
yeah, and it's just like it was so cringe, and it was like they had the doll doing Eva Marie's like Evolution intro, and it was just
hmm.
it was god awful, and I don't know, it's just it makes me sad. But you're right, it's just so weird. They just like gave her the gimmick. It does make it seem like they didn't care about Bray Wyatt, the man who created it. Like it was just so weird. Like why? Like I understand like and I don't want to speculate, but maybe he was taking time off and they said, "Okay, well we want to keep it going. We want that money train going. So
Right.
we're going to give it to Alexa for the time being," which is fine. But now she's kind of like stuck with it. So,
Yeah, no, I'm with you though. Like, I mean, that is a reasonable explanation though. What you just said, like, if they wanted to keep kind of the story going and he wasn't going to be there for whatever reason, he wasn't going to be there. Um, and it was a whole theme with Bray Wyatt too. Like, I was there live in New Orleans at WrestleMania 30 when he lost to John Cena, and like up to that point, he was so well protected, and like had he won that match, everyone would have viewed him on the same. I mean, it's hard to say on the same level of John Cena because Cena is so beyond everything they have currently, but like it put him in the conversation with a win like that. It was similar to when Kevin Owens came in and he beat John Cena while he was still the NXT champion, and everyone was like, "Oh damn, we might have like a new John Cena level guy here." And then Cena beat him twice after that, and everyone just forgot about it. Like that's the same kind of thing with Bray Wyatt and John Cena. Like Bray Wyatt should have definitely won that match. And then basically what they tried to do is they took the cult leader gimmick, which I thought was fantastic. Like that was such a good gimmick with him and Harper and Rowan, and then the whole story they had with Daniel Bryan, and then Braun Strowman later. Like that was a great stable. It was incredible.
yeah.
One of the best stables they've had. Them and the Shield, and they were at the same time pretty much. But like those stables really carried the WWE for like a handful of years, and then broke out to be the main focuses of the show for the most part, like those members,
Mhm.
and and then they just instead of just like continuing to go with that, and it was definitely working, they tried to turn him into like the new Undertaker, and then he lost to the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Right?
So it was like, what's the point of this? And plus, it's a weird thing to introduce, and this is why I think the Lily thing is so bad. And I haven't seen a lot of it, but from the little bit I have seen, what I hear about it, like introducing supernatural wrestlers in 2021, it's different than doing it in 1990. Like when the Undertaker came in, at first the world was different, the internet wasn't around, wrestling was
Technology
still.
was different.
Sorry, what's that?
Technology was different.
Yeah, everything was different. And even the perception of wrestling was different. Like, is this guy actually dead? Like, I believe these other
Yeah.
characters are who they are. Like this, now so like Bray Wyatt had just such an uphill battle with the way he was booked and losing big matches of big feuds, and then trying to make him a supernatural character, and he would just ramble. His promos eventually became something where he was just rambling about God knows what, and it didn't make any sense. And then the Fiend thing happens, and it's like, oh, this is his third, fourth chance of like, okay, there's no way they screw this up. And then he loses to Goldberg in like 10 seconds or whatever, and you're like, what? Like, what do you? He does the mallet thing, gets disqualified in a Hell in
Oh
a
my
Cell
God,
match.
Cell was like starting. That was the start of a slow death.
It was like, what the hell are they?
What are
What
they
are they
doing?
do? What are they doing to this guy? This doesn't make any sense. Why you do this? They're selling his belt for like $5,000. Like the guy's pushing merchandise. People want to buy the masks and the shirts. I even have his Funko Pop because I was like, oh, this is probably gonna be worth something one day. Like the Fiend's gonna be huge. Like
I have a chalk line jacket that's super badass. That's the Fiend.
exactly. So it's like it just doesn't. It's just mind boggling. Like
And you
how
look,
no,
sorry, go
just
ahead.
over. The point is just over and over. It just felt like they screwed him over and over, and now it's just not even there, and someone else has his gimmick.
Yeah, and I mean, and I posted it on Twitter. The debut of the Fiend at SummerSlam 2 years ago, which is ironic because SummerSlam's the next pay-per-view. I mean, you look at that and you look at how over he was and how incredible that was and the crowd reaction to that gimmick. I mean, at that point, you would have thought there's no way they can screw this up. This guy is red hot, nuclear hot. He is like a nuclear reactor about to like split into and explode because he's so dang hot. And they still managed 2 years later, almost not even 2 years later, he's gone. He's gone from the company.
Yep.
Like, it's really a testament to the the problem with WWE right now. And it's as a fan, when you're scared to like a wrestler because of the way they may potentially be booked, that's a major problem. I'm scared to like any wrestler, especially when they have something cool going on because of the way they may be booked. I'm scared to like an NXT wrestler because I know when they move to the main roster, they're going to get buried potentially. Like if you, I feel bad for fans of like Karrion Cross and Keith Lee, and I love Keith Lee and poor Karrion Cross just like died a slow death in the main roster. It's just it's it's weird and it's a problem with WWE and I just I don't want to be too negative about it. It's just it's a shame. It's a shame and I hope they turn it around.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're a fan of NXT, my advice to you is become a fan and become attached to the lower card and mid card workers in NXT because they have a better chance of getting booked strongly on Raw and SmackDown than the actual main eventers on NXT. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Like guys like Elias and Baron Corbin and Gunner, whatever they call him now, who's feuding with Elias. All these types of dudes, even on the female side, it happened a lot. Like you could even lump Alexa into it to a degree, but like you have Alexa wound up being really good, but you have a lot of examples. My point is, they tend to take people who were like never NXT champion or even main event level people from NXT, and those seem to be the people that wind up getting stronger pushes on Raw and SmackDown than like
Yeah.
because you know what I mean. You have a guy, I don't even know what NXT's roster really looks like right now, but I bet you a guy like let's see. Oh, you know, like the guy who's with Swerve, the big dude who was on the show, like trying to find the hidden or the lost treasures of the WWE. I don't know what he's like some top dollar, I think they call him.
Yeah.
That guy has a way better shot of being a superstar on Raw or SmackDown than Adam Cole does, and
Yeah.
that's pretty. I mean, like, it's nothing against Top Dollar, but it's like Adam Cole is like a world class, one of the best guys you're gonna find in any wrestling company. Checks every box you want outside of height,
Right. Yeah.
and because of that one little stupid reason, that's why he's in the position he's in. That's why Gargano's in the position he's in, and Ciampa's in the position he's in, and all these guys. Thatcher, you can name anyone who I think is like a elite, an all elite caliber performer. They have a less of a chance of being successful in Raw or SmackDown than guys like Elias and Baron Corbin and stuff. It's just the way Vince sees people differently. He doesn't see the same talent that most of the fans of NXT are seeing. Even Karrion Cross, everyone was like, "Oh, this is a can't miss. This is going to be a total Vince guy."
Right?
And now he's like losing every week on Raw, right? So it's like,
I don't know. I
Okay.
lost yesterday. Him and Keith Lee fought again. So.
Yeah, he lost to Keith Lee. I saw it on Twitter.
Oh, he did. So they did a
Yeah.
50-50 on us. Oh man,
Yeah,
we
but
did
he.
super chat really quick.
Oh,
Kenny
thank you. Yeah.
Mustard said, "Will you be ever so kind to take my budget cut, Kenny? I will take your budget cut gladly. Thank you so much, man. You freaking rock. You're the best. Thank you so much, Kenny."
Yes, thank you, Kenny, for that with that super chat. Very, very much appreciated.
But yeah, I mean, it's a weird time to be a WWE fan, and it's hard. And I saw Ryan Ruiz, he was like, it's hard to even like hate watch Raw now. Like it's just so bad. Like yesterday, I wanted to watch it because it's weird. I was like, I want to have faith in it, but I ended up watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
I was flipping back and forth, and then I would see like, who did I see that I changed the channel? I don't know. Nia Jax got busted open though. Pretty good.
Yeah, she got it pretty. I mean, we've seen her
Hope-
busting people open herself, so
Yeah, I know. She got a receipt.
kind of got a receipt. Yeah, a few years late, but finally got a receipt. I don't ever like seeing somebody get injured. Obviously, I'm kind of being facetious, but I was very anti Nia Jax when she punched Becky Lynch in the face. Like that was like
Yeah.
I feel like that was so uncalled for. But
Yeah.
um, but yeah. So I mean, so
Speaking of NXT wrestlers,
and Nia Jax.
no, we were talking about NXT on the roster and Adam Cole.
Oh yeah, okay. So we can talk about him, and then we'll talk about the Nature Boy. Um, so yeah, Adam Cole. I so basically what people were saying is like his contract could potentially be up, or it was up, and he signed an extension through like their next pay per view or whatever. But it sounds like he's negotiating with the WWE currently about whether or not he's going to stay. And then the big speculation is going to be, does he go to AEW? And the way that I'll get your thought on it, I'm just going to get some quick thoughts out. I think basically, if I'm Adam Cole, like I don't, unless you just can't get enough of being around Shawn Michaels at NXT, like because he was your favorite wrestler as a kid. Unless outside of that one reason, Adam Cole has no reason to stay in the WWE. None. Unless they offered him so much more money than AEW could, which just isn't going to happen. Like AEW will pay him more than I guarantee you AEW offers him more than whatever he's making in NXT right now, for sure.
Yeah, and even then, if they pay him more, they could always cut him and cite budget cuts.
Yeah, that's a big problem too. Like you were saying, like that's something that gets kind of lost in this. Also, a lot of the people that are getting let go this year and last year are people that signed new contracts because the company was afraid of them going to other companies a couple of years ago, and they signed for more money and then just wound up getting fired anyways.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't know. What I did listen to Wrestling Observer Live yesterday, and basically what Brian Alvarez was saying was that it was a clerical error that they didn't even realize that his contract had expired.
Yeah, the Canyon Seaman speculation because he got let go too.
Yeah. Yes, which was really some fun. He was saying release the semen.
Oh yeah, Twitter had a field day on that one.
Yeah. Excuse me. But he said, Adam Cole is a really nice dude, and so he agreed to extend his contract to SummerSlam or after, like right after SummerSlam or to SummerSlam, and then to kind of go from there. And obviously, the world is his oyster. I mean, to me, as a fan of AEW and a fan of being the Elite back in the day, it makes so much, and a fan of Britt Baker, it just makes sense for him to go to AEW with all of his friends. However, I mean, I'm not Adam Cole. I don't know what his personal goals are as a professional wrestler, but as a fan of Adam Cole, I say, man, you're in NXT, and that's about as far as you can go, honestly, because when you get to that main roster, I really don't see them pushing you. And I mean, it comes down to like what his goals are. Are his goals to make money, or his goals to, have really good matches and really make a name for himself? And I don't know. To me, he seems like he wants to make a name for himself. So,
well, and like I said, even on the money end, like even if it was all about just making money for Adam Cole, like he's not making. I mean, I don't know what he makes in the WWE, but I know his NXT contract is probably less than pretty much everyone on the main roster. So they're gonna. So he's just in such a bad spot with the WWE. Like he's stuck in this NXT purgatory situation where like if he stays with NXT, the company's gonna have to pay him main roster money, but it'd have to be probably similar money to what AEW would offer him anyways, to what the WWE would offer him to be on Raw or SmackDown or to just stay in NXT. But if he got moved to Raw or SmackDown, like he has to see the writing on the wall. Like he has to see what's happening to everyone around him, like that's in his same spot, and know that like now's the time to bail, because but it also depends on how long he signs for. They'd probably want him on like a 5-year contract. If I would, there's no chance in hell if I'm Adam Cole I'm signing for 5 years. I would sign at most. I'd sign a 1 year at the absolute most. Because then it's basically putting the eggs in their basket and going, okay, listen, I'll give you a year to be creatively fulfilling with me and my character and what I want to do in wrestling. Yeah. And if you can't do that in the next year, I'm out.
A year to conclude my story in NXT WWE.
Yeah, but as a fan, like you were saying, AEW all day. Like, it's not even a question. Britt's there, the Young Bucks are there, all the Elite guys and the Bullet Club guys. You have the whole story brewing right now between the Bullet Club versus the Elite. Like, he could be on either side of that. I mean,
that's the beauty of AEW right now. It's like, even if he doesn't want to go to like strictly to AEW, dude could go to New Japan, dude could go to Impact, and he could still work AEW shows because of the Forbidden Door, man.
Exactly. That's another thing that people kind of forget about too, is sometimes someone's like, they'll be like, oh man, I can't believe so and so. Here's a good example. Some people probably be like, oh man, I'm surprised Jordan Grace re-signed with Impact. Like, because she could have probably went to WWE. She probably could have went to AEW. But signing with Impact means you can also potentially be in AEW or MLW or Ring of Honor or National Wrestling Alliance, or like, just because you're signed to a specific company now, as long as it's outside the WWE, you still have a chance of wrestling everywhere else. So yeah, it's a really good point that needs to be made. Like, Adam Cole, man, you gotta look at like Samoa Joe too, right? Like, say he was in the same position pretty much, where it was like he was released from the company, so different than Adam Cole. Adam Cole's still with the company, but his contract is expiring. So Samoa Joe is a free agent, and he goes back to WWE, which I don't know if they gave him less money to come back. I don't know if he's getting the same. I have no clue financially what position to put Samoa Joe in, and he might just really just love working for that company. You never know. But there has to be a part of him going, like, oh man, it could have been me, Danielson, and Punk all together going to AEW at the same time, and I could have been a part of like this. Instead, I'm gonna be just winning the NXT Championship, which I've already won twice, and wrestling in front of 200 people in a sound studio on NXT every week. Like, I don't know why you would choose that outside of either financially or you don't want to travel as often. I don't know what there has to be reasons, but creatively speaking, why would you stay there? Like, it's a bummer.
It is a bummer, but I mean, hopefully they do something with it. I'm just happy he's employed again.
Well, sure, but he would have been employed anywhere. Yeah. He would have, like, you know what I mean? It's not like it would have taken long.
It was a bummer. Maybe he got wind that Punk and Bryan were coming back, and maybe he was like, man, I want to kind of have a spotlight on me. I want to kind of go for the championship.
But if he goes there with them, that is like NWO, like, level, 3 people jumping at the same time. God, it would have been so good.
We do have some super chats.
Yes, let's get to those. Thank you all very much for those super chats.
Thank you.
Actually, I have them here in front of me. We can. We read the first one about budget cuts from Kenny. Kenny the Bastard also said, Batista voice, give me what I want, Ric Flair to Impact.
There you go. And he could go back.
We'll talk about Flair here in just a second. Thank you, Kenny. Kenny also says, Adam Cole can't go to AEW. He would be dead, LMAO. And I see a lot of people saying that because of the whole they killed
Yes.
him on BTE.
Well, did you see that the Young Bucks changed their bio to a ghost emoji?
Oh, did they? Dude, they're the best at trolling. I love that.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kenny. You rock.
Yes, Kenny, very, very much. Thank you. And then also, Blue Shades Wells says, "You both are awesome" with the super chat. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Thanks for
You
watching.
rock too. Thank you.
And always, anyone, feel free, anyone who's got super chats or donations, if you have like a question or a prediction or something you want to attach to those, please do so because we'd like to give you your money's worth.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we're both on the same page. As fans, we want to see Adam Cole in AEW. As a fans of him as a human being, want him to do whatever makes him happy. So if he goes back to stays with WWE, that's fine. It's just a bummer as a fan because I feel like I'd rather watch him in AEW. That's all it is.
Yeah, same.
And then we got the Nature Boy Ric Flair, who
Capitalize Ric Flair.
like
Your boy.
you you couldn't even keep this guy happy. Like you're paying this guy to do pretty much nothing. and and
The bag, man. Bag.
it's like
How do you piss off Ric Flair?
Ric Flair isn't creatively satisfied and he's leaving. You know what
Ric
I mean?
Flair. They should be like catering to his every wish and command. They should be at his beck and call. Ric Flair. How do you make Ric Flair, whose daughter is like the 756-time champion, mad enough to leave?
I think it didn't help that they strongly implied that he had impregnated Lacey Evans in that storyline not too long ago.
So gross.
Yeah, he was probably like, what are we doing here?" Like, what?
What is this?
Like and he also just had lunch with JR the other day. Like there was pictures on Twitter, and
Yes.
I bet you anything, JR was like, "Dude, this is how much they're paying me over here," and he was like, "Oh, what? Like and I can be the Nature Boy again instead of like whatever this weird old man thing is that I'm doing in WWE. Like I could be like a manager, like Arn."
Four Horsemen.
Yeah, the rest of pretty much the rest of the Four Horsemen already there. I mean, multiple incarnations of it. I mean, you have Tully and Arn. You got Dean Malenko there. He was a Horseman at one point. Like, it's yeah. I mean, I think it's a no brainer that Ric Flair is going to go straight to AEW because they actually know how to treat their legends. Like they make spots for them on the show that don't make the show about them. Like that's the other thing too. Like people were like, oh, it's going to turn into Impact Wrestling. No, in Impact Wrestling, if Ric Flair was there, they would have they made like Mick Foley their champion, and like him and Flair were fighting each other and Hogan and stuff, and they were trying to make them the focal point of the show. AEW isn't making the Sting's like somewhat of an exception, but he's even still more so about getting Darby Allin over. So Flair, I think in AEW is a no brainer. What do you think?
I think so too. I think that even if they don't like sign into a full contract, just have him show up in like cameo eventually, like a little bit. Have him out there with Andrade. That
Yeah,
would be cool. I mean, there's so much they could do with him. Um, I don't know if they do it like right away, but it'll be really fun to have for him to like have like just show up backstage or something, like just little things like that. They don't have to like go balls to the wall with Ric Flair, but just like little Easter eggs in there, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I mean, he could turn on Sting for the 500th time, and like fans like me would mark out for
Yeah.
it. He can. I mean, what I'd like to see is Arn turn on Cody, and it's like Cody and Arn. And it's like they finally are getting their revenge because like they were. It was always them versus Dusty, So it's like if you had like
Yeah.
Ric Flair and Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, like kind of create their own Four Horsemen with like not them wrestling obviously, but they're mentoring like a Pinnacle type stable
Yeah, the next
against yeah
gen.
against like Cody who's like still Dusty's son, and you got like Cody and Dustin on the other side with some people or something. There's a lot you can do with Ric Flair in AEW, a lot. And also it increases the chances of Charlotte jumping at some point too.
Right.
If
Which would be interesting. Do you think that would happen?
Yeah, I do. Like why not? If they AEW can pay her whatever the WWE can, and like she'd be with her dad and her fiance, who will I'm sure be her husband by whatever time this rolls around. I
Hmm.
say I'm sure. I don't know when they're getting married. I'm just assuming, if things go well, that they'll probably be married, sometime in the foreseeable future. Like I don't. And then it's like you have a whole nother roster. Because here's the thing, like Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, and I know some people don't like separating female and male wrestlers. I have to for this specific conversation, and the reason being, if I'm singling out specifically the female wrestlers, because I don't think Charlotte Flair is the best wrestler in the world. I don't. But I think she's in the conversation, like, regardless of gender. She's definitely, like, way up there in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put her on the same level as, like, a Kenny Omega, for instance. I just think there is still a little bit of a gap there between someone like Kenny and someone like Charlotte. But if I'm looking specifically at the females, I think Charlotte Flair is not only the best woman wrestling today, she might be the best of all time already. Like, that's how highly I think of Charlotte Flair. And for AEW to get her would be massive for not only the women's division, but for the entire company. And there's always the chance of them doing some intergender stuff. I'm not huge on the intergender, but when done right, it can be really good. Like, I think Jordan Grace does a great job with it, and I've seen really good Chris Statlander, Tessa. You know, people have their opinions on her, but she very, very good as far as like intergender wrestling and stuff. So Charlotte there's a lot of potential for Charlotte and AEW, and it would also shut up a lot of people that are like, AEW's women's division just isn't that strong. But if you're living in a world where you've got Charlotte, Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, Serena Deeb, potentially more from the NWA, Statlander's going to only get better. Layla Hirsch, I think, is really good. Like, they're built, and I'm sure I'm missing others, but like they are actually building a pretty damn good division right now.
Yeah, Thunder Rosa. Did you say Thunder Rosa?
I did, yes. Thunder Rosa, who's arguably one of the best wrestlers in the whole world.
Dude,
right
Charlotte versus Thunder Rosa, George Hook said. Dude.
Yes.
Money. Print it out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But so I just think, you know, and just the fact that I feel like it's actually possible. I have no idea when Charlotte's contract runs out, but at this point, if you're in the WWE and you're a star of any level, I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not letting your contract run out. I'm not saying not to re-sign with the WWE, but negotiate out of contract, because for so long they were just re-signing people before they were out of contract, and nobody could really determine what their market value was. Now there's companies like AEW that can match what WWE can offer. So like, if you're Charlotte, you gotta at least have a conversation with Tony Khan. And that's what I think is happening with a lot of these people. Who's a recent WWE wrestler to come over, or let's say like a CM Punk or a Daniel Bryan, for instance. We don't know for sure if they're coming, but it's
Aleister Black or
Aleister Black's different because he was released. But like,
I know what you mean, but someone who like came over after their contract, Daniel Bryan,
right? Like Daniel Bryan would be a great example if he is indeed coming to AEW. I'd imagine that he was really comfortable with WWE. He was probably planning to re-sign with the WWE, and he actually let his contract run out. And something happened where like Jericho called him or something and said like, you gotta at least talk to Tony. Like, just give this guy a chance. This guy is a smart mark fan in his 30s who is a lifelong pro wrestling fan. That like in those conversations, when you're talking to Vince, it's probably like all business. When you talk to Tony, the dude's probably like rattling off matches that he remembers watching you have in Ring of Honor, and he's probably sitting there going like, I heard you do this interview with New Japan, and like, or talking about how you wanted to work for New Japan, and like you couldn't win your WWE contract. Like, I can actually make it so you can wrestle for New Japan and wrestle for me and wrestle for Ring of Honor and do everything you want to do. Like, and I'm gonna give you the same money they're offering you over there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you gotta at least listen to the conversation. Whether or not you sign back to the WWE, that's on you. But like, if you have value, it's happening a lot in mixed martial arts as well right now, because there's a lot of companies that can pay a lot of money outside the UFC now. They're not necessarily as big as the UFC, but they have a lot of money. So it's happening with fighters too, where they're getting out of contract and they're going, shit, I'll take a bare knuckle boxing fight because like they're gonna pay me more than the UFC did. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, okay, so I guess like the antithesis or whatever with all these releases is, to me, it seems like WWE is priming to sell. Does that seem clear to you as well?
I think it's an absolute possibility that they're preparing for that.
I mean, what else could it be? because it feels so just discombobulated. It feels so there's like it feels like there's a disconnect between the company, the employees, and the fans.
Yeah, and even within
Which,
like how you said the company and the employees, even that right there, like there's a lot of that. Like for instance, if I was Triple H, I'd be like, you know, he obviously knows more about the inner workings and the plan and everything than I would, obviously. But if I'm him, I'm looking at like Nick Khan going like, this isn't good for me. Like NXT, the next move that guy's gonna make, I think, he's gonna go in and he's gonna like shut down NXT UK and 205 Live, maybe even just NXT itself. Like at a certain point, I think Hunter's gonna like. I think Hunter's value within the company is just gonna keep dropping the more that Nick Khan keeps getting power. Because I think the long play for Nick Khan with WWE is to get that company sold to like a Disney or like a Warner Brothers or something like that, like some sort of big company, and do it to where they are a brand that works with other brands. Straight up, it's a kids brand that works with other kids brands. It's WWE branded Scooby Doo. You know what I mean? It's like it's that
no,
stuff.
those videos are weird.
Right, but and it's only gonna get weirder. Like I mean, you're gonna start seeing. I mean, who knows?
More zombie matches.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I honestly think eventually, because here's the thing too, Vince, this isn't the same Vince McMahon from like the 1990s or even the early 2000s. This is
No, he's old.
yeah, this is a guy who's an old man who has three granddaughters now, and it's like he's writing the show for him and them. Like this is how it feels. Like you're writing it for little kids and for their grandparents, and that would be the vision of a guy his age. Like what he thinks is cool is not what I think is cool. Like there's a giant generational age gap between us. Like,
Hmm.
you know, and I think at a certain point, like, you know, most of my life I would have said there's no way Vince would ever sell. But if someone came to him and was like, I'll give you $10 billion for this, which is totally within the realm of possibility. The UFC sold for over 4 billion and like wasn't nearly as established as the WWE is when they sold. If someone gave him like $10 billion, he is literally setting up not only the rest of his life and his kids' lives and their kids' lives. You're talking about like the rest of the family tree forever is set, and you don't have to
Right.
ever do anything the rest of your life except for just go and collect checks out of your mailbox.
Which sounds like the freaking life.
Which would be the life for a guy who's like 70, 80 years old, who's never taken one day off work. It's like you can
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of your existence now, like without having to even worry about it. Everyone you know and anyone that they know that they care about is set for life, with just you signing this over to one signature, and and at that point, like, you know, I know it's also a thing. It's like it's his baby, and like, does he want to let it go? I don't know, but what I'm seeing right now is not his baby. Like this the current
Right.
product is not what it was in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Like it's a totally different product now.
That's a really good point. You're right. It's not his baby anymore.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'll say this again. Like Vince, I've said it before. Vince McMahon, I consider that guy to be like a god of pro wrestling. I really do. Like
No,
without him going, putting all, I almost said all in, but did you really did though
yeah.
with WrestleMania 1. And I've said it before too. I mean, regardless of me thinking, yeah, Hulkamania was going to be big anyways. He stole basically the idea of DX from the NWO. He stole the whole Attitude Era concept from ECW essentially. A lot of the things he's done that have been successful, he's gotten from other places. But even all that stuff aside, like it's still Vince McMahon. Like he still
Yeah.
is the one that went head to head with all these other companies and beat them. Like he is the dude who went out himself when ratings were low and like the chips were stacked against them. He himself started going out to the ring and mixing up with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I mean? Like Vince
Yes.
McMahon is a god of professional wrestling, undoubtedly. Probably the
Oh
god
yeah.
of what modern day professional wrestling is. But
People will people will shit on him online, but then when his music hits at a show, will bow down to him.
yes, for sure. And that's what makes it so difficult, I think, for everybody involved in this, is because how do you walk up to God and explain to God that he doesn't understand what his own product is anymore?
Don't. You just don't.
Right. It's like it's such a weird spot to be in, because like Hunter can't really, or Triple H can't really like go up to him and be like, hey, like you really don't know what people want in the world of wrestling anymore. He'd be like, I created the world of wrestling. Like, how could you?
Right.
Of course, I know what people want. I've always given them what they want. And now I think Vince is probably maybe getting more to an age where it's like, I'm more concerned about what my granddaughters want. I'm more concerned about just making sure everyone in my family is secure. I'm more concerned about my own personal health and like being on the planet as long as potentially as I can be. Like, maybe I should just sell this thing and just enjoy the rest of my time with my family for the rest of my life, and they're set forever. Like, if you make that decision when you're in like your 40s or 50s, that's a little bit different because you feel like you're still like, you're still waving the flag for your company and you're still like in it and you're trying to. But he's won all these wars already. It's like you have the big TV deals now. Like WWE is a massive entertainment brand now. This everything you've ever wanted. Like it's all happened. Now just take
He's
the money and
himself
bail.
time again.
Yeah, but here's the thing now. Now he's going to be in a position where people can say that AEW is in competition to the WWE. They aren't to every degree, but they are to some degrees. And the reason is their viewership numbers aren't that far off from them in a very short amount of time. And
Right.
the people mainly watching AEW are mainly people that are not watching Raw anymore. So it isn't even where it's like fans are overlapping so much. It's like people now are actively choosing to watch AEW and not watch WWE. And I don't think that like AEW is gonna like take them out anytime soon or anything like that. But there's no way like does Vince have it in him? Is kind of where I'm getting at. Like, does he have it in him to fight? Like, if it does get close, and if all of your stars do bail, let's say one day John Cena's like, you know what, I'm going to try out AEW too. Like, it sounds like it's awesome over there. They're offering a lot of money. I'm out of contract. Undertaker, same kind of thing. They'll give me $1 million to go wrestle Sting. Like, why wouldn't he do it? Outside of
Right.
loyalty, why wouldn't he do it? Like,
Right.
there's all this stuff where like, and if it comes to that, and Vince sees it starting to slip, does he have it at this point in his life to go to war like he did in the 90s? I don't think so. He's a different guy now.
He's
So
very, yeah.
you might as well sell it. Let it be its own thing. Let it be its own children's brand that it's Veggie Tales starring Roman Reigns. I mean, whatever. Like that's what you are now. If you want to watch pro wrestling, there's other options. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
We got some super
I
chats too.
could. Yes, we do. Why don't you read those off for me?
Yes. Was that what you were about to say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, I was gonna say, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Preach.
Yeah, sorry I'm going on these like long tangents, but this is
No,
like,
I quite enjoy them because you're basically saying what I would have said anyway. So,
well, we do have some super chats. We've got Kogan sent, and thanks for sending this, Kogan. See you in here a lot. Says my favorite star Bray Wyatt got released on my birthday. What a gift from me, right?
oh,
But I bet,
happy belated.
yes, happy belated birthday, Kogan. Says, but I bet he can take this and turn it into something creative. I agree. Jessi, if he was to show up in AEW, do you think he should be involved with the Dark Order because of the link with him and Brody? Do you think he does his own thing? Do you think he goes back to like the cult leader backwoods type gimmick? Like, what do you think for Bray Wyatt if he does show up in AEW?
Really quick, Kenny that bastard had one before that, and it said also Tony Khan, you don't have to be around Brie mode as much, which
Oh,
is hilarious.
yes, thank you, Kenny, for that.
Very true.
I saw Kenny send another one after as well,
Yeah,
but I did miss that one, so thank you for reading that out.
hilarious. Thank you, and thank you so much, Kogan, for that super chat as well. And happy belated birthday. I'm really sorry that was kind of a crap present. It's hard for me because I see a lot. It's interesting. I see a lot of mixed bag reactions to Bray Wyatt potentially going to AEW. There's a lot of AEW fans that do not want him in AEW. Like they just don't think it would be a good fit, which to me is strange because I feel like it would be a really good fit. I think it's a place where you have creative control. It's a place where they kind of let you do what you want. And the thing you have to remember is you're not going to get the WWE version of what Wyndham Rotunda wants. You're going to get what the Wyndham Rotunda version of what Wyndham Rotunda wants.
Yes.
And I think that's an important kind of disconnect. I mean, this is the man that spent thousands and thousands of dollars of his own money to get a mask made by the best special effects artist in movies, in movies and television, and just he invests in his characters, and I think that that is definitely something that people need to remember. And as far as the Dark Order thing, I see a lot of people saying that, and I don't really know, but they're like, Brody Lee Jr. is the lead, negative one is the leader. Like they don't even play.
Right.
Like he's the one who is the leader. And I completely agree with that. But to me, it feels like, Brody Lee would have wanted Bray Wyatt or whatever version of Bray Wyatt AEW would get to be in the Dark Order. I think to me it makes sense. I mean, I see both sides. I see the side that says no, let it be with -1, and right now they've got the whole thing with Hangman Page going on. It seems to be good. But if you take away Hangman Page, the Dark Order is still kind of a joke gimmick, honestly. And I mean, and it sounds bad, but I mean it's true.
Yeah.
And it's it would be a way to kind of get them back on the level that they were. And now, do they want to do that? If they don't, because of the loss of Brody Lee, and they feel like it would be disrespectful to Brody Lee, then I completely am fine with that. Whatever, honestly, whatever Brody Lee's family and -1 wants, I'm fine with. But I feel like even beyond that, I feel like it would be a fun character to be, or just Wyndham Rotunda or whatever. I don't know. I feel weird calling him his like real name, but that's just because we're never gonna see. I don't think he holds the rights to like Bray Wyatt. I don't, which sucks. And so I'm just calling him by his real name, which I'm sorry if that's bad. I'm sorry. Um, but I feel like there is a place for him, and I know everyone's complaining about, oh, there's too many people going, and this is Vince's plan all along to make, Tony Khan pay all this money for all these people and then go bankrupt. But it's like, dude, his dad is worth infinitely more than Vince McMahon is. So like that's not even a problem. But I feel like, you forget they're having another TV show they need to fill the roster for. They have AEW Dark, AEW Dark Elevation. There's 4 shows. There's a lot of room for this roster. And it's like AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation, they're both on YouTube. And so that goes to me, a potentially even wider audience than cable television, which is not a bad thing. So I think, I feel like with AEW, it's like the world is their oyster, honestly. There's no limits to what they can do. Like, honestly, it's like you can look at WWE and go, oh no, they would never do that. They would never do that. They would never do this. With AEW, I'm like, they might. They might. If that's what the talent wants, if that's what everyone agrees on, they might do it. So to me, it's like it makes sense for him to go there. Maybe he goes to New Japan. I don't see him being a New Japan wrestler.
It'd be interesting there if I think he's more of a U.S. type wrestler myself, but
Me
like,
too.
but in Japan, it would be interesting if he wore like some like a crazy mask or something, like because the fans would definitely react to him for sure because he'd be so different.
Yeah, definitely. I And maybe he doesn't. Maybe he wants to go into like movies. Maybe he wants to go into like horror, or he wants to go into like, I don't know. He's friends with that Code Orange band and stuff like that. Maybe whatever he wants to do. Maybe he wants to just take a break. I mean, whatever he wants to do, I'm fine with. Like at the end of the day, it's up to these wrestlers. It's their livelihoods and not ours. And it's fun to speculate and it's fun to give our opinions. But at the end of the day, it's their lives, not ours. We're just watching. So we need to be okay with whatever they choose, even if we're like kind of like with Samoa Joe, we're like, man, but it's like, man, it's not my life.
Yep.
It's not my, and I don't know everything about what's going on, but it is, AEW does make sense. It does make sense, and I don't think a Ring of Honor makes a lot of sense. And Impact, I feel like Impact would just make it super hokey with him.
Yeah, he went up on like Swingers Palace segments and
Yeah,
stuff. And,
it's
yeah, I think that if like there's a way they could do Bray Wyatt in the Dark Order and still keep it to where -1 is technically in charge. Like
Yeah.
It's totally possible. You can easily, especially with like how creative Bray is, like you could easily have segments where it's like them in a room and like negative one's kind of like whispering in his ear or something, and then Bray's like, "All right, cool, yeah, that's what we're gonna do," and like you know what I mean? Like he carries out all the plans because negative one's still a kid, but he's basically channeling kind of through to Brody Lee almost like through his son, kind of like
Yeah.
like there are things they could do there that I think could be interesting, and they also would have to pivot more from like a comedy thing to maybe a little bit more serious as well, which I think they're gonna have to do no matter what at some point. Like it's working really well right now, but at some point, people will be over the kind of the goofiness of the Dark Order, and they're gonna want it to be more serious again, probably. So,
Yeah.
and another good thing is like if you're AEW and you're smart, you don't let things get so stale and then change them. Like, change stuff while it's still good, but just change it to something different that could be better.
Pour
Um,
some gasoline on that flame.
yeah. When you also mentioned the whole like AEW, they like how you basically said like they might do this or they might do that. Like I mean WWE were like there's just no way they're gonna do this or that. AEW, there's so many instances of that in AEW. Like before, you guys can go back and watch episodes of me and Jessi on here from a year ago or whatever, where I was like, if Sting ever came to AEW, if they put him with Darby Allin, like that would just be the greatest for me. And like they did it. Like I'm sitting here like talking about how they need to get like Ultimo Dragon to come back to wrestle Chris Jericho. We don't get Ultimo, but it's Chuvito Guerrera. It's the same level of awesomeness for me as a WCW fan of the cruiserweights. Like there's no way they're gonna actually do Nick Gage in a death match on AEW, right? Like, but they might, and then they do it. I mean, that's the thing. Tony Khan is one of us. He's around our age. He's a lifelong fan. He has the money. He knows what we want to see, and he's just doing it. Like they're not overthinking. The only ways they've overthought things is like the big explosion that was a dud, and like
That was, which is kind of funny. It was funny.
yeah, I mean, in hindsight, it is. At the time, it was like, oh no, 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 no,
It was a
I'm
bummer,
not
yeah.
seeing this. The Jericho thing where he like fell into the crash pad, or JR
Yeah.
saying WWE on TV or whatever. Like, you have these little things where like it hasn't always gone perfectly, right? But like they were doing their damnedest to satisfy my demographic of wrestling fans, and that's all I can ask for. Like they're trying and they're executing. 99 times out of 100, it's a home run. So yeah,
Absolutely. And there's a way they could like kind of keep Brody Lee Jr. or Negative One as the leader of the Dark Order when they introduce Bray Wyatt or whatever. You have Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, in whatever kind of like reincarnation of his character he chooses. And the first thing he does when he walks in that ring when the Dark Order's in there is he just like kneels down and like bows to Negative One.
yeah. So something like
And
that'd be
like
cool.
that would be badass. I would be down with
It's
that.
like I respected your dad so much. Like whatever you got for us, like we'll do. You know what I mean? Like he was brother Bray and brother Brody.
Oh,
But
I know.
yeah, man, wild. Living in a great time to be a
Wow.
professional wrestling fan.
Yes.
Kenny that bastard with another super chat.
Thank you,
Thank
Kitty.
you so much, Kenny. You are killing it today. Says Jessi had one of the best ideas. These chicks don't even know the name of my band. Bray Wyatt is the way he will go. I'm not sure if I understand that. I might have read it wrong.
Probably about Code Orange.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I know I know
Yeah,
he's a
I
big
think
Shooter
so.
Jennings fan as well. He
Yes.
could make some pretty cool music for him.
Yeah. What'd you say? Sorry, my daughter was in here and the cat's in
Well, I'm saying
here. Both my.
I know that Bray Wyatt and Shooter Jennings are friends, and
Oh, that's
he's a
right.
fan of his music. So like he could be someone that could make him some pretty cool theme music too potentially.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Kenny, for the super chat. But Bray Wyatt is the way. He is definitely the way.
Yes, and it'll be interesting to see whatever he calls himself outside the WWE. Like he could use probably the name Bray or the name Wyatt. He probably just can't use them side by side. So like he could technically be like Wyndham Rotunda or Wyndham Wyatt or something. If you like, they could figure
But just
a name that'll probably you know fit to both the WWE audience they're trying to bring over with him and whatever name he's going to be going with going forward.
For sure.
Because that's one thing too people are really considering. Like, I know I've already talked about how a lot of AEW's audience is like disgruntled WWE fans, but I think there's going to be a percentage of fans that are just big Bray Wyatt fans that don't watch AEW that are going to watch it now for him.
Yeah, I saw Sean had tweeted like Fiend Avatar people, what is your stance on this? And literally every single one of them was like, wherever he goes, I will go. I will follow.
There you go.
Yep.
I'm gonna hide the screen real quick. I'll pull up the AEW card. We can just kind of go through that real quick before we get out of here. Put AEW Homecoming. Once again, thank you all so much for the super chats and donations today.
Yes, thank you guys. You guys rock.
If you guys have any predictions here for this show specifically that you want us to read or to answer for you, now would definitely be that time when it comes to the AEW stuff. So, I mean, the big match on this... Well, I had a couple of big matches, actually. I'll just go right through it real quick. The Bunny and Layla Hirsch, I think this will be a really solid match, and this is number one contender for the NWA Women's Championship, and I think either would be a really good contender. I'm personally a bigger fan of Layla Hirsch. I just like her in-ring style a lot, and I like the fact that she's so small, but, like, so believable in the way she still, like, throws women around and stuff. The winner's going to face Camille at the NWA Empower pay-per-view, the all-women's show. Who do you think wins this? You think Layla Hirsch or the Bunny who's going to challenge Camille for the title?
That's interesting. I think I would like Layla Hirsch to win. I feel like she, to me, it seems like the right fit for the NWA World Women's Championship. But I don't know. The Bunny is kind of more on brand for like AEW. But I'm going to go Layla Hirsch just because I like her.
Yeah, same here. I like her as well. I like them both, but Layla presents something a little different. And Camille's been a good champion so far for the NWA. Like, she was the right person to beat Serena Deeb for the title. But she's still... I would definitely say Deeb and Thunder Rosa are still better overall wrestlers than Camille by a pretty good margin. But yeah. Camille, it definitely does come across like a big star in the way she carries herself. And she is okay in the ring still. It's not like she's having bad matches. But I think her versus Layla Hirsch would be a more entertaining match than her versus the Bunny, personally, just because of the stylistic contrast there. After that, we have Miro defending the TNT Championship against Lee Johnson. I think it's pretty obvious that Miro's probably going to retain here, but I think Lee Johnson's going to have a really good showing. He's a dude I was watching. He rose through the independents really quickly, and he was mainly in the Southeast from like what I remember of him. Like, he was doing shows. I got to see him live in Nashville at Southern Underground Pro. I may have seen him in Chattanooga as well. And I know he was starting to get booked for Action Wrestling in Tyrone, Georgia, right when the pandemic started. And that's also when he wound up debuting in AEW, and they wound up signing him. So I'm a big Lee Johnson fan. I'm one of the few that can say I was watching him pre-AEW. I just don't think it's his time yet, but I think he's going to have a really good showing in this one. But it's going to be, I mean, Miro's got to retain, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But like you said, I hope that he has a good showing. So, but yeah, Miro has to win. I mean, they made that new championship belt for him. He's got to hold on to it. Wow.
Very true. And I think Lee Johnson's time will come in time. Like, he will be a big star for them, I think. He still trains at the Nightmare Factory. Like, he's out there learning on the job big time. Mm-hmm. And he's killing it, in my opinion, so far. I think he's a guy who's going to be, when we're a few years from now, when we're in the era of, like, I know Hangman Page as the champion will probably come sooner than later, but when we're looking at a landscape a few years down the road where the main event scene is like Hangman Page, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, MJF, Ricky Starks, all these guys, I think Lee Johnson's going to be in the mix with all those dudes. Like,
I think you're absolutely right. I think he does fit in with all those guys. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Next match we have, this one's got a lot of interest. We got Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black. Who do you think wins this one? Is it Cody, who a big part of the fan base seems to resent because they think he's just going to book himself to beat everybody because Anthony Ogogo should have beat Cody Rhodes apparently. Um, or
Right.
or is Malachi Black getting a big win over a big star in his debut match?
I think Malachi Black should win. I tell you what, can I just tell you, I thought it was hilarious. I laughed so hard when they started interviewing Cody Rhodes and he goes, with the way things are in the world today, and then all of a sudden just like a foot comes in and just like, oh God, he's gonna go into that political spiel again. We better. I thought that was great. I feel like that was like a Cody Rhodes like move. He's like, you know what? Let me start getting political real quick, and then you just kick me in the
He
face.
gets what's
I was
going on. He's reading the internet and
like, oh yeah,
he knows where he stands and what people think about him and stuff. Yeah.
that would be so funny. So that was so funny. I loved that. I feel like Malachi Black should win, especially in his debut match. I know it's against Cody Rhodes, but I feel like Cody Rhodes needs like a come up story, like a come up in story. He's kind of just like at the top, just chilling. It's like, come on, I need to see you struggle a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. I think that Malachi wins this match. I like that they've, I like the dynamic that they've had over
Yes.
the weeks because it's been Cody in all white, it's been Malachi in all black. All white is traditionally the white meat baby face. The all black is like the heel.
Yeah.
But it's I think I said it on the show last week, but like AEW, I honestly think has been playing 4D chess for this whole feud, and like Cody's the heel because
Oh, absolutely.
there's no
False
way.
prophet.
I'm sorry, what's that?
The false prophet.
Yeah, like there's just no way that they know that Malachi's gonna get cheered. Like people like were starving for him to get out of that WWE contract. Like they want to see him on AEW. They want to see him reach his full potential. Malachi's
Hmm.
going to get cheered over Cody. I think Cody's still
Oh,
going to get cheers, but it's going to be very pro Malachi in comparison.
yes.
And I don't know if they make the turn during the match. I don't know how they present it. But Malachi even said in one of his promos the other week, he was like, "When I kicked you in the face, they all cheered." Like,
Yes.
they're he knows the fans are actually behind him, and Cody has to be sensing, oh man, like I'm doing all the right things. I feel like I'm out here like saying things right from the heart and like, the American dream and I'm trying to and I can't even challenge for the world title. So like, why are people getting so upset with me? Like all I'm doing is just winning the matches I'm allowed to have, you know. And but in reality, they're just becoming more and more resentful of Cody.
Yeah. I think it's because when you're at the top for so long, it's like the fans are eventually going to turn on you.
Well, and there's also a percentage of fans that I think actually believe that because Cody's an EVP, he's just booking himself to beat everybody.
Right.
And that
Right.
just isn't the case. He's put over Darby Allin. He put over Brody. I think he's going to put over Malachi. It's just I find it weird, to be honest, how many people were like the Anthony Ogogo one especially, like that really thought that Anthony Ogogo should have beat Cody. Like y'all are out of your minds if y'all think Anthony Ogogo should have beat Cody in that match. The guy was not ready. The
Yeah.
match sucked and it
Right.
wasn't Cody's
They
fault. I'm
went home
sorry.
early. Yeah,
Yeah,
they went home early.
put him in a vertebraker and told the guy to just to stay down. It's like this isn't working. He wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready. Straight up, they tried to make a new star, and the guy just wasn't ready. But this is a different situation. Malachi is already a star, and the fans want it. And I think the AEW is going to give the fans what they want, and it also gives Cody a potential chance to start more of a transformation over into a heel character, which I think is kind of a long time coming. Like I think a heel character would freshen him up quite a bit. So, especially if he was to like realign with like MJF or something, like align with these people that were like terrible to you, but like now you're a terrible person also or something. Like there's a lot of potential there. So we're both on the same page. Malachi Black, he has to win this one. If Cody wins this, even though I'm the biggest Cody Rhodes fan in the world, if he wins this match, even I'll be a little suspect on it. I'll be like, I don't know why they did that. You know what I mean? So,
Yep. Sorry.
no, you're good. I know you got.
It's all right. I'm doing my best to mute.
So the next match we have Christian Cage taking on the Blade. This is all just basically storyline progression. The Blade represents the Hardy family. Christian Cage and Matt Hardy are feuding. This is just another kind of step towards doing Christian versus Matt Hardy. I think it's pretty obvious Christian's going to win this one, but hopefully it's a solid match. I mean, Pepper Parks slash the Blade slash what was his name in TNA? Someone remind me. Braxton Sutter.
Oh yeah,
You want to play Barbie?
Been a
Sissy?
you know he's solid. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I don't know what's up with the Butcher. I don't know if he's hurt, but we haven't been seeing him lately. But I like him a lot too. But yeah, I think it's a pretty foregone conclusion. Christian Cage has got to win this one, right?
yeah. I think so, unless Matt Hardy does some shenanigans. Um, I don't know. What do you feel like? What do you say? Wait, obviously, I think Christian Cage should win. It seems like a foregone conclusion. However, I want to get your thoughts on what are they doing with Jungle Boy here and with Matt Hardy? Do you think anything happens with this? Do you think it goes anywhere, or do you think it's just kind of going with the storyline?
With like Jungle Boy and Christian.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like Matt, do you think them being on the outside? Do you think Matt Hardy and Jungle Boy get involved? Like, what do you think is gonna happen?
I what I think personally, because once again we have to consider. I think Tony Khan he's proven already he's pretty big on the idea of long term booking, meaning, you know, like for instance like Malachi Black, people probably get really fixated on like, you know, what's gonna happen with him and Cody, and they
Yeah,
should be, but knowing how AEW's been operating, they probably already have Malachi Black's pay per view opponent set up for the next 6 months or a year. Like they know where all this is going before we do, and they actually have plans to do it, and they actually execute these plans over long terms. So
yeah,
the reason I bring that up is because with Christian, what I think they should do is they keep it very wholesome between himself and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and Marco and everybody involved with this on like the babyface side. I think you do a babyface Christian versus a babyface Kenny Omega for the title on like some sort of free dynamite, but some sort of big dynamite between now and like after All Out, but before the next pay per view, maybe if Kenny Omega retains. At some point, I guess, Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega's got to happen because they've teased it enough.
but thank God they're making him work for it.
Yes, which I'm totally fine. Like I don't want to see the reason I say a free show. Like I think I don't want to see Christian versus Kenny on like a pay per view. I think that needs to be reserved for something bigger. But Christian and Kenny is a solid match and it's a great main event for a free show. But after that, around that time, that's when I would turn Christian. So whenever I'd keep him a babyface up until the point where he challenges Kenny, and then maybe see reconnection successful. I'm just waiting to hopefully they can hear and see me now. I don't know what's up with OBS, y'all, but I'm very much excited for Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera. Jericho has to hit a top rope maneuver to win. My guess is that he's gonna catch Juventud Guerrera on the top rope with the Walls of Jericho and put him in the lion tamer on the way down. Is what I think he's gonna do. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, what do you think about this match? Have you ever seen a Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera match, Jessi?
I have not, and I'm really excited to see it. As such, I probably won't understand a lot of like the references and stuff, but or like the callbacks or whatever. So I'm gonna have to rely on the internet to educate me. But I'm really excited to see it, and I'm really excited to see Jericho win and see what the next labor of Jericho is gonna be.
Yes, because there's one more labor, and then labor 5 is MJF, which I just had like clarified to me. I had to do some research, but I thought there was like going to be 4th and 5th labors and then MJF. So it's going to be Hoovy and then someone else and then MJF. One thing that I think would be really amazing, and Tony Khan's the type of dude who's going to know this and is going to hopefully do this. Back in 1990, probably 1998, Juventud Guerrera and Chris Jericho Jericho is the cruiserweight champion. It was mask versus title. And Jericho won Juventud Guerrera's mask because he retained the title over him.
Oh,
And if he came out wearing that Hoovy mask,
that would be amazing.
that would be, I mean, because that's literally just long-term storytelling from WCW to now. Like, and it's all on TNT, which is amazing.
Right.
So I think that would be awesome. I think that's the route to go. And then the next labor, I know a lot of people think it's going to be Paul White, which isn't a
I
bad.
couldn't be.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I said Paul White's not a bad option because like their history with Jericho, but then of course you have Lance Storm because
That's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Yeah,
they trained
but I don't think he
together.
wants to go.
And Storm's last match was against Jericho, one night stand years ago.
It was
Um,
his first match ever too.
yeah, their first match against each other as well. Yep, they trained together and everything. But I mean,
Hmm.
my personal pick is I still want to see Ultimo Dragon. Like I still think that'd be.
Yeah.
But regardless, like if it's Lance Storm or Ultimo Dragon, I think Chris Jericho should come out as Lionheart Chris Jericho because he's already come out as the Painmaker and stuff. Like do the Lionheart gimmick. Like why not?
Yeah.
Or
I
or maybe even a Y2J type gimmick if it's somebody from like the Attitude Era or something.
If it is, yeah, but if not, I mean, he's kind of done the Y2J thing over in WWE.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match is gonna be awesome. Like I mean, I even if it isn't that good in the ring, like I'm gonna be marking out like crazy. Just the fact that I'm getting this match in 2021 is just mind blowing to me. So, um,
There's this nostalgia bell curve.
yes, yes, 100%. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious Jericho's gonna win and then go on to Labor number 4. But just once again, just the fact that it's another one of those scenarios, like we were saying, like, and when it comes to WWE, a lot of the time we're sitting there going, oh, there's just no way they're going to do this or that. AEW, it's like, there were fans that I talked to that were like, what if it's Hoovy? And I was like, if it was Hoovy,
What?
that would be incredible. Like, I was thinking Ultimo, but like, if they do Hoovy, I'm going to be just as happy. And it was a callback from MJF and Jericho having a promo one-on-one against each other and then mentioning Juventud Guerrera a year ago. And they showed the clip. Like, once again, long-term storytelling. MJF looked up who Juventud Guerrera was after Jericho roasted him for not knowing. And now he's going to bring him to try to beat him in the Labors of Jericho. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, and you know what? Props to MJF for getting that whole promo in like 2 minutes of airtime. They had like 2 minutes left, and he like fit all that in.
Yes. Yeah, it was awesome. Because you had the Nick Gage Jericho match, which just ruled. And then
Ruled.
right at the end, it's like, you don't think it could get any better than that. And then usually when it's AEW, something bad happens. Like
Right? I was like, oh Jesus,
the
they're gonna
incredible
get kicked off the air.
exactly the incredible ending happens, and then like it'll be JR saying, we'll see you next week on WWE Dynamite or whatever, and you're like, oh God, why? Like you just shut the camera off right before that. But this time that didn't happen. MJF came out, cut his promo, it worked great, and I was even more hyped up. Like I was already on cloud 9 just from the Nick Gage Jericho death match. But the icing on the
Right?
cake was him coming out and saying that Juventud Guerrera was coming next week. It's like, I literally tweeted out, "Thank you, Tony Khan." After that, I was like, "There's nothing else I can say."
Yeah.
Like, thank you for giving me the product I want.
Amazing.
Amazing.
What a time to be a wrestling
It's
fan.
the best. It's the best. Well, that's gonna do it for the show today, y'all. Unless there's anything you can think of, Jessi, that you want to talk about before we sign off.
Nope, that's good.
Cool. I'll get the sponsors ready to pull up on the screen here. If you want to tell people what to do for the channel.
Yes, I just want to say thank you so much for all the super chats today. Y'all really rocked it today. Thank you so very much, Kogan and Kenny. I think, let me see if is that all the. I don't know. It's not letting me scroll.
I have a Blue Shades Wells as well.
Blue shade, that's right. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you. We love our live chat. You guys have such engaging conversations and not even needing us to be there. Y'all bring up great points. Y'all rock. We want more amazing people like you guys. And the best way to do that is to give this video a thumbs up, comment on it if you want, get some engagement on it so that it'll recommend this video to other people and other like-minded, amazing folks like yourselves in the chat. Because I cannot express how happy I am each and every time we come on here to see this amazing incredible chat. And Kenny, thank you so much. Another super chat says, JR, goodbye, everyone. Another episode of AEW WrestleMania. Oh, man, thank you so much. It's so true. Poor JR. Gotta just give him love, though. He follows me on Twitter, so I'm not going to say anything bad. And, but yeah, I mean, seriously, thank you, Kenny. You rock. Thank you. Give this video a thumbs up for us. Help us out. Subscribe to the channel. really does help us out. And that way, because right now with the kids, it's still summer. She starts school next week. We're going to be having a new routine. You never know when we're actually going to be able to catch us live. So if you want to know when we're going to go live, follow us on Twitter and subscribe and hit the bell so that way you get notified every time we go live. And that way you can be in this amazing, incredible chat. And I hope it makes you guys happy because it certainly makes me happy.
Yes, it definitely makes me happy as well. It helps me out more than you guys understand when we got shows like this and people are helping support. It really really goes a long way. And speaking of the support, we have other people who help support the show here. Starting with Music City Toys and Collectibles, they're the place to be for action figures, pro wrestling memorabilia of any kind. Old books and magazines and DVDs, everything. They also have MMA stuff. They have baseball stuff. They have Power Rangers stuff, Ninja Turtles, like whatever you're collecting. Music City Toys and Collectibles has got you covered, but they specialize like specifically also like pro wrestling. Like they have a ton of figures, especially. I mean, like loose figures, box figures, mint on card for all you collectors out there. They got you totally covered. They do live streams on their Facebook channel, and you can basically buy things from them live, and they just PayPal you the invoice. It's super easy. They're nice people. It's fair business. I promise you, you'll enjoy doing business with Music City Toys and Collectibles. Make sure to check them out on all social media at Music City Toys. Make sure to check out their website, musiccitytoys.biz, and also their new retail location at 101 West Main Street in Watertown, Tennessee. That's WATERTOWN, Watertown, Tennessee. Music City Toys and Collectibles. Support them because they support us. Also, WrestleRumble.com. Place to be for fantasy pick'em contests for professional wrestling. Right now, they have a couple raffles going on. So we have the Seinfeld-inspired Rock Austin Savage Undertaker painting or drawing here. So y'all can win that. The raffle is only $1 to enter, and you can win that artwork for only $1. And then we have the Winged Eagle Belt Collection. These are so insane. These kind of giveaways. So for $1. For this, all right, you throw $1 into the pot. Someone's gonna win. Let's see, we have how many winners total? 2 winners total, it looks like. So hypothetically speaking, for $2 you could win all of this. For $1 you can win half of this. Someone's gonna win the replica. That's pretty cool. They're doing this. So you get the white, black, and light blue colored straps for the replica titles. Those are like the real deal replica titles. Those are like $300-$400 championship belts right there. The other person is going to win the same thing but in miniature form. So really cool. Like someone's going to win the full on replica belts and someone's going to win the mini belts. And what's cool about the mini belts is they display really well and don't take up a lot of space. So like I have like a full size replica NXT title belt that I won from Wrestle Rumble, and it takes up like a whole shelf in my office. It looks badass. Like I'm definitely not complaining. I love it. But in that same space, I could probably fit like 10 of these mini belts. You know what I mean? So like they're really cool prizes as well. And you can get those for literally $1 entries at WrestleRumble.com. Make sure to follow them on all social media at WrestleRumble to stay up to date with all their contests and raffles. Also, I'll give another shout out real quick to IndependentWrestling.tv. This weekend, you have the Scenic City Invitational Tournament on Saturday and Friday. So Friday night, and Saturday afternoon for this future showcase. You also have IWTV 100, which will be the 100th championship title defense for that championship belt. You're going to have champion Wheeler Yuta defending against Daniel Garcia. We've been seeing Wheeler Yuta a lot on AEW, blowing up. I'd be very surprised if he has not already signed with AEW or if he isn't going to soon. So be watching this match. Daniel Garcia is a guy we've seen on AEW Dark a little bit and a guy who's really blown up on the indies this past year. Going to be an awesome match. You also have Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander on that show. Lee Moriarty's on the show. Jonathan Gresham, Warhorse. A who's who of independent talent and mainstream talent at this point. IWTV 100. That's going to be this Sunday on independentwrestling.tv or IWTV.live. Use code FIGHTTALK, FIGHTTALK. All one word, no space. Put that in promo code SPOT. That helps me out a lot when you do that. So please go over there, support IWTV, and support Fight TV this weekend also. They have 3 huge shows, GCW, VXS, and AEW, all this Saturday on FITE, Fight TV. And last but never least, my brother Brian Jensen. He is a owner at Steel Boxing and Athletics, a gym out of Atlanta, Georgia. He works with people with neurological issues. So if you have like Parkinson's, MS, dystonia, anything like that, he can help you with a wide variety of things. If you want to learn how to compete at an amateur or pro level, if you want to just know some self-defense, if you want to just lose some weight, or once again, if you have any kind of neurological issue that he can help you with, whether it just be dexterity work or range of motion, flexibility type stuff, Brian can help you reach your goals no matter what your size is, no matter what kind of shape you're in, doesn't matter where you live, nothing at all. Brian can help you reach your goals. Hit him up on Instagram. It's at BoxingATL, BoxingATL. Send him a message on Instagram. And as always, with all of our sponsors, let them know that me and Jessi sent you their way. And I promise you get a really good deal on whatever you are trying to do. And for me, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I don't know what's about to show up on this screen. Okay, this is good. You can follow me on Fight Talk at Fight Talk _ FIGHT TALK _. Support the work I do over at Fightful by subscribing to FightfulSelect.com. Got the Weekender podcast every Sunday. This Saturday, myself and Jamie Kilstein are doing the Fightful UFC 265 watch along for the co-main and main events. So Jamie, a friend of this podcast, will be over there with me on the Fightful show this weekend. So that'll be fun. And yeah, everything else I do this week, I'll just keep updated on my Twitter at FightTalk _. Jessi, tell us your stuff.
Well, obviously, thank you, Steven, and please go support all of those sponsors. They're fantastic. They really do help us out. Let them know that we sent you there. They'll hook you up real nice. So please do support our sponsors that Steven just mentioned. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Jessi the Buckeye. My handle is beneath that picture of me. That's where you'll find me live tweeting about wrestling, Olympics, Ohio State football coming up in a month, which is fantastic. All sorts of random stuff. So that's the best place if you want to see me like live tweeting wrestling. If you want to talk to me, if you want to get to know me more, do not try and find me on Instagram. Do not try and find me on Facebook. I will not add you. I will not talk to you. Do not DM me on Twitter. I don't go in there. Please subscribe to my OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/Jessi the Buckeye. That's the place. That's my database. That's where you can see more of me. That's where I like to talk to people. Obviously, I get a lot of crap DMs. I just got someone suspended from Twitter for what they sent me.
Oh, God. I'm about to say, at this point, your Twitter DMs are basically reserved for Wrestle Rumble entries. So stop DMing her so she sees the Wrestle Rumble entries as they go into her DMs.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so don't really like to go in there because unless I'm getting a Wrestle Rumble entry, so it's nothing against any of y'all. It's just there's some bad things in there. So, yeah, that's basically it. And also, obviously, Domino's is canceled. We're Team Papa John's now, so use code Jessi25 at papajohns.com for 25% off your entire Papa John's pizza order.
Check out our merch.
Yes.
There you go.
Merch link in bio for the Fight Talk podcast. Do it.
Check out our for 100 billion kids in.
What'd you say about 100 million kids?
I don't know. Just to check out our toys. I don't know.
Well, I like action figures. I got plenty of toys around my office for sure. Jeff Meacham in the chat. What up, Jeff? Dude, real quick, if you're still in here, are you currently in Atlanta? I saw you were, but if you still are, I am now residing in Atlanta. So if you're around, that would be cool to see if I'm free and you're free. But yeah, anything else, Jessi, before we sign off here?
Nope. I just hope that everyone has a good weekend. Hey, Jeff, thank you so much for your kind words. Also, that was really sweet.
And
of
we'll
you.
send you cookies.
That's right. We're sending Mr. Steven some cookies.
Yes.
So
Let's give him a plug. It was the Cookies and Cream Sarasota, Eric Stevens' company.
yes, yep. I'm sending him some cookies that we went and got. So
And check out our skirts.
our
For
skirts.
girlfriends and baby and kids.
Cool. I guess we have skirts too. Oh, Kenny, thank you so much. He says, yeah, OnlyFans. Only Jessi will something with her. I can't say it in front of my kids.
That's okay.
Bare hands.
And be liked and comment down below.
Say
and
thank you, Kenny.
And say thank you to everybody in this world who wanted to be. And happy birthday to all.
Happy birthday to all. Yes.
Yes, anyone whose birthday is today.
Unicorn emojis, likes, and no sad faces, and check marks, and unicorns, and cake. If it's your birthday, tell me in the comment below, and I hope you check out our video. Bye!
Spam anyone who's left in here, make sure to spam unicorn and cake emojis in the chat for I always can we say her name on here or no?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Scarlett. For Scarlett, make sure to give us some unicorn and cake emojis on the way off of this show. Thank you again, Kenny the Bastard. I always say Kenny that Bastard won for another super chat right before we got out of here. So thank you. She will get you if you keep. Yeah, she'll get you with her bare hands.
What? I'm sorry. It's
No, I was
chaotic
saying I
here.
was reading Kenny's super chat. I was like,
Oh, yes.
she'll get you with her bare. She'll get you with your bare hands.
Yes. Thank you so much, Kenny.
So yeah, so that's gonna be it. Unless we see like a super chat come through within the next like 5 seconds, we'll make sure to get to that next time if we miss it. But thank y'all very much for supporting the show today. Thank you very much for watching. And today is Tuesday. We might be back again this week. We'll me and Jessi will talk and see if there's another day we can do, and maybe this weekend or something. But make sure you're following both of us on Twitter. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to make sure you know when we're going live. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Hope you enjoyed.